everyone. I'm Jeannie Holefelder, Director of Faith Formation for Children at St. Hilary Parish, and I wanted to wish all of you a happy Holy Week. I know this is a different Holy Week. We're all in our homes, and we're doing things to celebrate and enter into the week with our families. So I had it on my heart to share with you a special tradition that I have always done in my family as a child, and then also as a mom with my children as they grew, and that is making unleavened bread for Holy Thursday. So today I wanted to show you and demonstrate how that is, sort of like how Father Steve demonstrated folding palms with you on Sunday. This is something you can do midweek to prepare for Thursday. So first, let's look at the ingredients. I have them all here. You'll need things that might just even be in your pantry. The trickiest thing for me is I don't always have wheat flour on hand, but you need wheat flour, 2 eggs, a tiny bit of salt, some oil, and honey, which is the sweet stuff in the bread, which is my favorite part. So, all right, let's begin with the dry ingredients first. We use 4 cups wheat flour, and you want to be pretty exact in your measuring. Don't do overflowing cups. Really level off your cup measure as you do it, because you don't want your bread to be too dry as we get into mixing it. So I'm going to put these, I'm using my mixer today. You can definitely do this by hand. I'm just using modern technology to make it easy. So when it comes to the kneading part is when I need the help a little bit from the mixer. Anyway, so 4 cups of flour, and it calls for 1/8 teaspoon of salt, and I only have a quarter measure, so I just eyeball it and do half. I don't think it really will make or break things. Just put that in and then into the mixer just to incorporate that salt. Okay, for our next step, we're going to add a 1/4 cup of vegetable oil and a 1/4 cup of honey. And we're going to heat those up to add into our flour mixture. I used to do this project with 6th graders when I was a Catholic school teacher many years ago. And this seemed to be one of their favorite things to measure. So we always put the oil in first, and then it's fun to watch this honey drip and take it up to 1/2 cup. And again, you want to be pretty exact on your measuring. There's not much to this recipe, so every little bit counts. Okay, once you have it measured out, you're going to add it into a little saucepan and heat it up. This again was one of the favorite parts of the 6th graders. You really want to get most of it out of that measuring cup so we have every little bit. And just be a little patient with it. I don't suggest that you feel it, that it's hot enough. You'll see right now the oil and the honey are really separated, but as it heats up, it will start to just be one same mixture. And it can almost go to a boil, and it won't hurt anything. Later on, when we heat up the milk, you'll have to be a little more careful than when you do the honey, but the honey and oil mixture. But this part here is pretty straightforward. You just want to kind of get it so it mixes together and heats up so that they're not separated anymore. Okay, our oil and honey mixture is all heated up. We're going to put it into the flour and salt mixture. And again, get all that off of that pan. Use a good spatula. Now, if you leave a little bit in the pan, we're going to add our milk. That comes next, and so that ingredient will make it back. But don't wash this pan. Just keep it aside for our next step. Right now we're going to use the whisk attachment and slowly stir that up. So after you've mixed it a little, it'll just be a little crumbly. You'll see there's little pieces of where the honey and oil have kind of made little balls, but that's fine. Once we add our next liquid ingredients, that will mix in just fine. Okay, our next wet ingredients are 1 cup milk and 2 egg yolks. So of course you can separate the yolks from the whites, however works for you. They have nifty little tools you can use. or I tend to just do old school and use the shells and go back and forth. But you only want the yolks. Put those whites aside. And then have them ready before you start heating the milk, because you're going to want to put them in as soon as it's warm. You do not want to mix them while, ahead of time and then make scrambled eggs. We don't want that. So let your milk kind of warm up. Now this is one that is kind of challenging because you have to stand here and just watch it. If you walk away from it and you kind of scorch your milk or burn it, you have to start over. So just stand here, wait it out, say a little prayer maybe. Wait it out as it gets warm. And this is where I think you could use your little fingertip to test if the chill is out of the milk, unlike with that honey and oil where you would burn yourself. But this, you just want to get it warmed up, so no problem. Just hanging out here and waiting for that to happen. Once that's done, you will put the yolks in and add it to the flour mixture. Our milk is all warmed up. I'm going to add the yolks in and mix it. And then in the flour mixture, I've made a little hole in the middle. I like to pour it down in the hole so that it's not getting on the sides, and it's mixed in with the flour pretty nicely. Get this all mixed up. Make some yellow milk. And pour it in. Now this time I'm changing to the paddle attachment on the mixer. We're not going to mix it very long. We're going to take it out and knead it by hand, but this will incorporate that milk and egg mixture. But try and take it slow at first. And then you'll see it to start solidify, but there'll be little crumbs of flour at the bottom. And that's what you'll pick up when you kind of dump it out of the bowl in just a minute. So let me pull this up and kind of clean it off the beater. And then I like to do this part by hand. I don't know if it's just because I remember kneading it by hand as a kid, and it was always the fun thing. We'd take turns kneading the bread. The recipe sometimes says that you would knead it for almost 15 minutes, but I've found that recently I don't have to knead it for that long. The texture does not take that much time. Maybe it's because I am using the mixer to begin. All right, so now I have it out on the counter and I'm doing some kneading by hand. You want it to have this like kind of sticky texture, but to be able to incorporate into itself every time you turn it over. It's pretty much ready to roll out now. Kind of flatten it with your hands first, and then grab a rolling pin. You're going to roll this out until about 1/4 of an inch thickness, and then we will cut it into some circles. So just kind of go back and forth. I like to straighten it out one direction, then flip the whole thing over, go the other direction. As you do that, you should be kind of flattening out all those little folds and creases as much as possible. So just keep going until you get it nice, flat, 1/4 of an inch thickness. So I'm really pleased with how it's turned out. To cut the breads, I just use bowls I have at home. So I'm gonna make some bigger ones with this purple bowl and some little smaller ones with this one. And then if you have a cookie cutter that's a cross shape, you can use it, but if not important. You could just use a knife and put the image on your little breads. So I'm gonna try to get as close to the edge as possible with all my cuts, and you should just be able to twist through with the bowl and cut a piece out. This one's not quite cutting through yet. There it is. Okay, and just try to get as many as you possibly can. Go all the way around, fill in with some smaller ones. And then to put your cross on, you do not want to press your cookie cutter all the way through. Just kind of do it lightly to put the image. I always kind of get carried away and press all the way through, but just do it lightly so that it's only on the front of the bread and it doesn't cut through. But then you'll have the image. If you do a small one, you cut through like this, and of course my cookie cutter won't fit. On the small one, I just use the knife and just hand press in a little cross. So just like that. And then as you go around the rolled out dough, you know, you'll make more, but you're going to take these breads, peel them off your counter, and you're going to put them image side down. And I like to use parchment paper. They aren't going to stick, but I still like to just on my pans use parchment paper. I made a batch earlier and it had gotten the pattern of my cooking sheet on there, so the paper will avoid that. You put it upside down. We're going to put it in a 350 oven for 12 minutes with the image down, and then at that time we'll flip it over and cook it another 5 minutes. So keep going. All right, it's been 12 minutes, and so we will take out my first pan here. And we're going to flip these over. Remember, they're image side down right now. Flip them over like this. And then they'll have 5 more minutes to cook. What we'll see is they'll brown a little bit. Notice they're not rising. It's unleavened bread, so they're not going to rise. That's intentional, and that's important. Now, my son made a good point to say that, oh, this bread isn't like bread we have on Easter. It isn't as tasty. You know, it still has a nice flavor to it because it's wheat and it has the honey in it. But of course it is for Holy Thursday, and it's more of a sacrifice to eat the unleavened bread than it would be when you're looking forward to your Easter Sunday, you know, sweets for breakfast or a tasty Italian bread or something for dinner. So it is different tasting, I will give you that, but it's also a nice way to mark the special holiday, you know, the special season of Holy Week and Holy Thursday. So I will be back with you in a couple minutes. We've got 5 more to go on our cooking. Okay, so the bread is almost ready to come out of the oven. I do have ready here some pieces of saran wrap. We're gonna wrap the bread so it keeps them moist, and we're gonna refrigerate them while they're still hot. Now, I love press and seal. I love this product. I use it all the time in my own kitchen here, but it is not good for this project. It's really best if you have the old traditional saran wrap. Okay, so I like that it's clear and you can see through it, and it also seals up so nicely on the hot bread. So here we go. Let's pull them out. See how they are. They do smell good, that wheat and honey. I love that smell. And it takes me back to my childhood from when my mom made it for us. So I like to flip them over on the saran wrap so that the picture will be face up when it's all sealed. So I overlap it, the plastic wrap here, and just kind of let it seal in there so that it will stay a little moist. It does tend to dry out a lot if you don't. So, and as it dries, you'll be able to see that image of the cross on top as well. So we have the bigger ones and the little ones. You can share at your table on Holy Thursday night. I suggest that you have dinner as a family around 5 or 6 and pull out these breads to share together. Of course, it's not like us getting to go to Mass together, but it will be a nice way for you to celebrate in your own home. And then you can tune in at 7 o'clock and watch the Mass of the Lord's Supper together online. I hope that you enjoy making bread with your family and that you're able to maybe start this tradition in your home as well. I was thankful to be able to share it with you today, and God bless.